Amigos del Extra Base, es un honor para nosotros estar con David Dombrowski, el presidente de Operaciones de los Phillies de Filadelfia. Hace un tiempo hablamos con él para hablar de Miguel Cabrera. Vamos a hablar un poquito más de los Phillies. Mr. Dombrowski, welcome back to El Extra Base. Obviously, we remember that conversation we had about Miggy when he was chasing 3,000, but I want to talk about other guys now in the in the Phillies. I want to start with your left-hander pitcher starting tonight, Jesús Luzardo. How good has he been for you guys?
Well, he's been outstanding. I mean, Jesus has been one of the best starting pitchers in Major League Baseball. His stats may not look quite as good because he had two outings that he had which were not good. Very uncharacteristic of him, but he bounced back last time and threw like he was earlier in the year. His stuff is great. He's a competitor on the mound. Throws strikes. I think he's struck out double-digit hitters 4 times this year, didn't walk anybody, so that's not something that's easily accomplished. So anytime he takes the mound for us, we have a great deal of confidence we have a chance to get a well-pitched game and to get a victory.
How much did you like seeing him bouncing back in that last outing, making the adjustment? Because as you mentioned, it's not typical to see him have basically 3 rough innings, basically in those 2 bad starts.
Well, it was great to see because I think the one thing, he's a good pitcher with like any good pitcher that does that. But I think from their own perspective, they want to find the cause of what's going on, and before they get too rattled about that. And he's a situation where he's able to find that. So I think doing that, you get back to the normalcy. Okay, I'm going to go out there and throw the ball like I'm capable. Because I'm sure even from his own perspective, he's wondering, how am I getting hit? Because his stuff was still good. He was still throwing with the good velocity and good stuff. So it was good to see him bounce back for his confidence and for us.
And what about Ranger Suárez?
Well, Ranger Suárez has been tremendous. Ranger is a little bit different than most of the other guys on our staff in the sense that he's a pitcher. He's not a hard thrower. Like when you talk about Jesús Luzardo, you're talking about somebody that throws in the upper 90s with his fastball. Wheeler does that.
Yes.
Christopher Sanchez can do that. But Suárez is more the low 90s that really knows how to pitch. Changes speeds, commands his pitches, has 5 different pitches that he mixes and matches and keeps people off balance. And he's a master out on the mound. And he had a bad first outing himself, coming back from the long time off. And so that even makes his stats, as good as they are, being a little bit worse than what they would be. But he's been phenomenal for us since that first outing and pitching great and one of the better starting pitchers in the league.
With Ranger, the slow heartbeat that he shows when he's on the mound, it seems like the most unbothered and relaxed guy that you can see on a mound, no matter the situation, if it's the World Series, spring training, playoffs, whatever.
He does not get rattled. That is for sure. He's in a position where he handles it on the mound under any circumstances. You really can't tell even if he's having a bad outing for himself, exactly. Rarely. And yeah, I mean, I think the best way to, when you'll see him field the ball, he's a great fielder. As when he fields the ball the way he throws it to first base, just very comfortable, relaxed, no rush, and gets it over there. So that's one of his biggest attributes as far as being a pitcher is concerned. Not only his stuff and the way he handles his stuff, but the way his composure is on the mound.
I saw you last year in the clubhouse after a game, talking to each player. How important is that relationship for you?
Well, I think it's important. I'm different than the manager and the coaching staff because they're responsible. They're the direct reporting relationship for the players. So they have to be on top of them on a day in, day out basis to make sure they're doing all the things they need to do on the field. In my perspective, when you see me after a ball game like that, I'm usually just touching base with them to say, good job, way to go.
Yes.
Because a lot of times I have to deal with things that aren't quite so pleasant. Yeah. But I think it's important to have the correct working relationship, and we have a great group of players. You respect them, like their families. You don't go over that line because you're still responsible for making decisions. But I think it's important to have a good relationship with your players. They're the backbone of our club, let's face it. If they don't play well and you don't have a good relationship with them, that's not good.
Now, obviously looking forward to what's next. Obviously you guys are in a position where you're competing for a championship. Trade deadline coming up in a month. How busy are these next couple of weeks for you?
Well, they're busy. I think right now we're in a position where we've been doing a lot of our preparation work. I've been doing that myself. Our scouts have been out there scouting, people in our front office preparing lists. And we've started to talk some to clubs, but we haven't had a lot of in-depth conversations. We haven't been close to any type of trades, but it's a busy time period. It's an important time period. Basically, you have 6 weeks until the trading deadline. You need to identify your biggest weaknesses, I mean, our starting pitching's so good. When Harper comes back, our lineup is in pretty good shape at that time. It's probably bullpen is our biggest focus, but some of the guys in the bullpen have thrown the well too. But you can always get better, and it's a busy time of period, and it's your last, because once you get past July 31st, you can't add any other players to make your club better.
That's it. And on that aspect, and a final one for me, how much the contract situation of some guys that might be going to free agency or 1 year of control, or depending on what's the case on each player, how much that dictates what your plans could be on a situation like the deadline?
Well, I don't think it really makes very much difference for a club like us, because we're trying to win a championship. So if they're on our club, really that's our focus and our goal is to win a championship, and we can deal with those other things. When you make the acquisitions, it could make a difference, because if somebody's got 2 months of control for August and September, and then they're a free agent, well, maybe you don't want to give up quite as much as if you would for somebody that you'd have under control. I think that's where the bigger difference is for us. But as far as the players on our club, when you have them now, even though they're heading into the last year of service, you're in a position where your main focus is we want to win a championship, and we'll take the players we have no matter what their service time is.
Mr. Dombrowski, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.